I believe the next item is item number 6, House Bill 1392 by Representative Pearson. All right, you're recognized.
Thank you. And Chairman Russell, if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it before someone calls the question. I appreciate the conversation and discussion because that's what democracy requires. Our participation, our questions, our conversation, our discussion, not just the end of debate because you don't want to hear something. This bill is to repeal permitless carry. In our state, we have had this since 2021. And since this bill has been passed, against the will of our chiefs of police, against the will of our sheriffs, we have seen a sad increase in the number of homicides and suicides as well. When this body repealed the permit requirement to conceal and carry a handgun in most public spaces, gun deaths have increased. And I saw some folks here from the Tennessee Firearms Association, a leader there, John Harris said, if you want to carry a gun for self-defense in Tennessee, go get the permit. 59% of Tennesseans disapprove the 2021 bill, and we are continuing to live with the ramifications of the decision of two lackadaisical attitude and legislation related to guns and firearms in the hands of people who should not have them. I am a proponent not just of the Second Amendment, but of the right for people to responsibly carry firearms. In our state, giving anyone who can walk into a gun store access to a firearm that can hurt them or to hurt other people is wrong. It is detrimental. It is immoral. And it is consistently leading to more problems for our communities. If indeed child health is a critical indicator of a society's well-being, as one of our own state agencies have said, the burdens of homicide among Tennessee children is higher among Blacks, males, and children aged 15 to 17, with firearms being the leading means of lethality. We have a responsibility to do all that we possibly can to protect our communities, to protect our kids, to ensure that they are safe. Since 2013, Guns and Trunks was passed. In 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, we have continued to pass legislation that has made it easier for people to have access to firearms. Now, in this moment and in this time, tomorrow, where we are remembering the Covenant mass shooting that occurred, the largest mass shooting of a school, as we continue to remember Antioch and the lives of people right in District 86, including a pastor whose funeral I have to go to this Friday, who's died from gun violence, we have a responsibility to not let politics stop us from good public policy, realizing that the lives of our people is what is paramount, not the wishes of the NRA or the TFA or other people. We, as legislators, have an opportunity to right a wrong. And while some folks have supported not having a permit, we know that better education is and will lead to better outcomes. And if you're an economics person, financially, with the revenues from the permits, over $11 million will be coming back to our state. We have a moral obligation to do what is right. And this law has not, at any moment or any time, helped to improve the safety of any person living in the state of Tennessee. And so I implore you, care for our kids, care for our communities, care for our families who are suffering because of bad laws and bad legislation that put the voices and the ideas of a few over the lives of millions of Tennesseans. We need to do something about the gun violence epidemic. We have the power to do something about the gun violence epidemic, and we don't just have to offer some empty thoughts and prayers. We can do something, and now is the time to do it. And I will continue to advocate for that because I believe in it. Personally, from our family's own experience to the experiences of too many people in our district and in our community who are suffering from the lack of good laws and good regulation. I know a lot of people who own firearms and want for responsible gun ownership to happen with responsible education as well. You don't have to throw out responsible gun ownership in behalf of the Second Amendment. Thank you. With that, I renew my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chairman Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And with regards to your remarks, you talk about, well, we need to be heard, democracy, and all this. I know every member in this committee has been here this year working during committee, during session, voting on bills.
Yes, sir.
And I know you may have some things going on, but you have not. So I don't think it's fair for you to come in front of this committee and lecture us on hard work and convictions and hard work for our committee.
Mhm.
So when I understand where you're at and what you're doing and why, but at the end of the day, we've been here working.
Mhm.
We've been on the House floor voting on bills. We've taken the tough questions. We've taken the tough votes.
Yeah.
And we're doing so.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's fair for you to come here and lecture this committee on hard work when we've been up here doing the hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair Doggett, and thank you, Chair Farmer, for your comments. They incense me. They make me very, very angry. Very angry. Not just because of the lack of regard, but the disrespect and the same denigrating tone that you used on the State House floor when the vote to expel me happened. It's disrespectful. It's unbecoming, and it's beneath the standard of a person who's supposed to represent in the Tennessee House of Representatives. It is a pathetic excuse for you to not answer the question of why we are doing nothing about the gun violence epidemic than to personally attack me. But let me explain to you what I have been doing, Representative, since you asked. My brother, Temperance Darnell Pearson, one of the loves of my life, passed away from gun suicide on December 1st of 2024. And since that happened, it shattered my family like gun violence has shattered so many families. Shattered my nephew's lives, my mother, my father, my other brothers who are remaining. I buried my brother. I planned for his entire funeral. My fiance made his obituary. I made sure that he was taken care of, even in death. That's what I've been doing. But also, not just that, I went to all of my nephew's schools. I met with their principals and their teachers to ensure that they are okay. I gave them and made sure that they had grief counseling and that they're seeing a psychiatrist. That's what I've been doing. And while you're talking about hard work, you need to realize that our job is not just in this state house with these marble floors. Our jobs are on the streets and in the communities that we serve. And so while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting transgender children, while you've been here passing bills that have been hurting the poor, hurting the marginalized, hurting the disenfranchised, while you've been here passing bills that have not ended poverty, while you've been here passing bills that have not helped people who need Medicaid expansion, while you've been here doing the hard work of making sure that our state is not the state that it can be, because you have decided
Representative Pearson.
reality of our situation is only to be.
Representative Pearson.
While you've been here doing that, I've been in my community,
Representative Pearson.
meeting with young people, going to school, registering
Representative Pearson.
voters. That's what I've been doing. Hard work doesn't just happen with this legislation. It happens.
Representative Pearson.
And if you will, Chairman, just one more minute, because Chairman Farmer seems to think that he somehow
Representative Pearson.
seems to understand my life better than I do. You need to understand that hard work isn't just sitting there and shutting up and passing a bill. It's doing the hard work of justice and love and mercy. It's
Okay.
doing the work of managing the voices of the poor and the marginalized, and it's taking your
All right.
and your pain and your heartache, and it's standing in front of people who you know may not like you, standing in front of people who you know will disrespect you, people who you know will talk down to you, and saying in the honor of people like my brother, in the honor of people who have died from gun violence, in the honor of people who have died from suicide, we need to pass better laws,
Representative Pearson.
and fight for a state where everybody is able to live more freely from the pain of gun violence that me and my family are experiencing. That's what you need to think about, Chairman Farmer. Come on. And if you can't think that, learn to shut up.
All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Learn to shut up.
Ladies and gentlemen. Chairman Farmer, briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Pearson, it seems that it's very common in your party when you disagree with a comment. Now, it's not disrespectful to you. That you resort to yelling. Basically, everything you just told me, you just did. I have a family. I've made sacrifices every year. So you
Representative
can,
Pearson. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Representatives, I know this is a very difficult time for you to be back up here. I'm sorry for all the things that you've experienced. You've been a great uncle. You've done the things that you were supposed to do to help your family. I understand that. If I was in the same situation you were in, I would be doing the same thing. I understand that. Okay. I know tensions are high up here today.
Disrespect is high here.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our best to be as civil as we can up here. Okay. And I appreciate that very much. So with that being said, I'm going to go to Leader Lamberth. He was next on my list.
Move previous question on the bill.
Previous question has been called on the bill. We have objection. Okay. We are now voting on previous question. All those in favor of previous question, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. The ayes prevail. We are now voting to send House Bill 1392 on to full judiciary. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 2 ayes, 7 nays.
The noes prevail. House Bill 1392 fails.
No, sir.
5-minute recess.